if they gave me a real fine with my real name on it, I would take it to court and I would file multiple charter challenges, and they would have to show demonstrable justification for violating those charter rights. And they don't have it. Cases do not equal justification. Deaths, hospitalization, sure. We don't have any of those.
I can't believe that. Watching what happened in the last shutdown and seeing over 250,000 businesses closed forever, and now we're going to do this again to our economy. It's our most basic right to be able to feed our children and to look after our family, and they're about to take it away from us again. David Menzies for Rebel News here in Toronto. Well, folks, check it out. Yahoo Nation is on the march, and can you blame them? I mean, recently, if you listen to the politicians and the bureaucrats, you would think that the sky is falling. They talk about record number of COVID-19 positive cases, but what they don't say is the death rate, which is a mere fraction of that, and it's a virus that tends to kill seniors, unfortunately, in long-term care facilities, and yet, nevertheless, the move is on to shut down the economy again. Premier Ford just announced new restrictions for restaurants and food service facilities, and people are urged only to go out if it's essential, whatever that means. And get a load of this, talk about mixed messages. Just a few days ago, the Liberal government announced, the federal Liberals that is, that they're easing border restrictions, allowing loved ones to fly into Canada even if they are not citizens or permanent residents. Meanwhile, Toronto's top public health official, Dr. Eileen De Villa, is basically advocating a complete shutdown of the economy. But you know what, folks? As the saying goes, we're all in this together. Unless, of course, you're a member of the bureaucracy making $100,000 plus of taxpayer money, no less. In any event, you can see the so-called Yahoos are in a very boisterous mood today. They're marching along, ironically, to the CN Tower, which just today completely closed down. That's right, the symbol of Toronto, the CN Tower, is now closed. In any event, let's go into the crowd and see what the members of Yahoo Nation have to say about these recent announcements of locking down the economy. They're hinting that yet another major lockdown is going to happen. There's already been some announcements restricting restaurants and fitness facilities.
This is upsetting. I voted for Doug Ford, and he's really just, he crapped the bed here, man. Like, he really crapped the bed here, you know?
Because a lot of people are talking, including Mayor Drew Dilkins, I believe it is, in Windsor, about mask holes and COVIDia. It's people like ourselves that haven't been practicing social distancing, haven't been masking for over 7 months now, and saying that we're causing more cases. If this is so transmittable, and we've been doing this for 7 months, should we not all have caught the virus by now? And shouldn't we be one of the safest groups to be around, if you use that logic? Because we should have caught it by now, right?
Well, naturally, Chris Guy is here. Chris, I got to admit, I didn't recognize you with clothes on. Maybe I should rephrase that, but you got a jacket on today. The seasons are a-changing. What do you make of this rally today, sir, and what our elected officials and bureaucrats are saying that we need to once again further shut down the economy?
Well, we've been saying that they're going to do this since basically April, before they even finished our first lockdown. We already knew that as soon as flu season hit and the weather changed, they were going to start talking about a second wave and a second lockdown. And we know, just like the first one, it has nothing to do with our safety. It's all about control. They want to close the small businesses. They want to increase dependence on government. They want to increase their power over the people.
First of all, I must admit that the second wave is here right now. We have a second wave, but it is more socialism in our country. That's the second wave. And, you know, big government that spend money that we don't have. Trudeau is doing that with the help of the NDP, but also the Conservatives.
Well, I guess, sir, first of all, nice shirt.
Oh, thank you very much. I mean, I'm sure as you can tell, I'm not the biggest fan.
How would you rate Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's performance during this pandemic?
Where I live right now, they're fining high school kids $880 per child just for being in groups of 4.
You're kidding. Now, where is that, sir?
Barrie, Ontario.
Barrie. Okay, then you know what? We run.
There, it's an abuse of power over there.
Well, you know, folks, as you may know, we run the website fightthefines.com. If you're in Barrie and your child is getting fined $880, please get in touch with us.
We're talking about 13 and 14-year-old kids getting almost $1,000 fine for going for lunch with their friends.
I can't believe that. Watching what happened in the last shutdown and seeing over 250,000 businesses closed forever, and now we're going to do this again to our economy. It's our most basic right to be able to feed our children and to look after our family, and they're about to take it away from us again. And the deaths that we're seeing and the carnage we're seeing from the policies far outweighs anything that the virus has done. And I don't wish death or pain on anybody, but you have to, as a government, you have to weigh the pluses and minuses. And it seems that Doug Ford has forgotten that there are people out here who are trying to survive, and it must be really nice to sit in an ivory tower and not have to worry about feeding your family.
Obviously, the government or whoever's running the governments has an agenda, because the numbers aren't there. It's very obvious that they're exaggerating the numbers. They're doing excessive tests just to raise the numbers to make them appear more real. And the tests that they're doing, they're 50 to 90% false tests anyways. They don't test what they want to. The test was never designed to test for the coronavirus.
So, sir, first of all, what brings you out to this protest, and are you worried that you might be slapped with an $880 fine? I see some police officers over there.
You know what? I think the police are just doing their job here. They're just making sure that nothing's going to go too out of control. I don't think they're really going to find anybody. If they do, it might just be one of these guys that just looking to do it, right? I don't think many of them are like that. I think we're all okay.
What brings you out to this protest?
I came from Soviet Union many years ago. Don't want it here.
Wish I had your guts. I wish I had your guts. Thank you very, very much. These people are criminals. You know, they're criminals. They're destroying people's lives. For businesses, they say, oh, we're helping you. What are they doing? They're giving them loans. In other words, they're indebting them. They're not helping nothing, right? They're not helping nothing. They're making this situation way worse.
Do you think that the so-called cure is worse than the curse, that there's more damage to be done by shutting down these kind of elements of the economy than there is in terms of flattening the curve of the Wuhan virus?
I totally agree, because it is an outlet for us. And they do have conditions, they have safety, they have it all. We're not in danger.
I would say this federal government has spent 10 years worth of money in the space of 6 months. Where's this money going to come from to pay the piper?
The sad part is that's not even an exaggeration of what you said. Our deficit's going to be something like $400 billion. And we've already seen a double-digit reduction in our GDP. We've already lost over 250,000 businesses for good, and that's before the second wave even started. The good news is the sentiment is changing. Unlike the first time when 90% of the people were for the lockdown, now it seems to be the complete opposite. We have the vast majority of business owners, churches, other institutions all standing up and saying, no, we've seen this before, we know what's coming, we know this isn't for our best interest, and they're just not going to put up with it.
And what do you think of the recent announcements of further crackdowns in terms of the economy to flatten the curve, so to speak? I would suggest almost everybody here today voted for Doug Ford PCs in 2018.
We're very disappointed.
So what happened in 2 years? How did the membership of Ford Nation become a bunch of yahoos in the Premier's eyes?
I think that's a good question for Doug Ford.
They keep talking about cases. We all know now the PCR test is inaccurate. It's not reliable. Even our own health minister months ago admitted 50% false positive. There's experts now that are claiming up to 90% false positives. So why do they keep talking about cases when cases actually don't really matter unless you knew they were truly positive cases, which we don't, and we know that.
We have people that are losing their jobs. We are in a recession. More spending is not the solution. It is a sedative for the economy, and we just need to have our freedom back. That's why we are here today.
I feel like the whole thing is it's all about compliance and control. They just want to make sure you're going to do what they tell you to do. That's why they don't care about what type of mask you wear. They could be a cloth. I could probably put toilet paper on my face and that would probably work for them, right? They don't care as long as they see that you're doing what they want you to do. They'll take an inch, and next thing you know, it's a mile they're taking from you.
And all of these people who have these government jobs, it's really easy for them to sit back on their high stool and tell us all that we need to shut down, we need to do this for the economy. We're not in a place, most people are paycheck to paycheck. And the minute you take 2 paychecks away from them, they're on the street. They have no rent, they have no food. So it's really easy to sit on that tower and make these edicts, but you have to get to the brass tacks of it, that people can't afford to do this, and we need to survive, we need to live.
People who were born in Canada do not even understand what they are fighting for. The young people, they want socialism. Are they completely crazy? I cannot figure out. I voted for Doug Ford, and I cannot figure out what he is doing with us.
They're making such a big deal about the coronavirus. What about heart disease and cancer and diabetes? People die from those in much greater numbers and car accidents. There's more people who die in car accidents. Why don't they stop people from driving cars?
Yeah, and your allegation was, Chris, that the police deliberately misspelt your names, making the ticket invalid. Is that correct?
They did that 100% guaranteed for the express purpose. Like I said, the whole point of me coming here on last Saturday, after they already warned me that I was violating quarantine, was to publicly challenge the quarantine order and show everybody that the law is not really a law and it will not hold up in court. If they gave me a real fine with my real name on it, I would take it to court and I would file multiple charter challenges, and they would have to show demonstrable justification for violating those charter rights. And they don't have it. Cases do not equal justification. Deaths, hospitalization, sure. We don't have any of those. So they knew 100% guaranteed if they gave me that ticket, I would bring it to court, file a charter challenge, I would win, and that every single person would know quarantine is a bad joke that they used to scare you to try to keep you from going and seeing that other countries aren't wearing masks. Other countries aren't closing their economies. Other countries are not suffering under tyranny like we are. But they want you to think that Canada is the center of the universe, and they want you to think that everything they're trying to do to you here is not only for your own good, but it's happening everywhere. Newsflash, it's not.
But sir, why is it that 13 and 14-year-old kids are being fined almost $1,000, yet back in August, Doug Ford went to a wedding of one of his MPPs, no masks, no social distancing. Why is that?
Fucking great question. Fuck that, that's a great question. I want to know why my 13 or 14-year-old daughter has to worry about getting a $1,000 ticket for going to lunch when there's guys that are giving the tickets are out there just flagrantly disobeying every law they're putting out.
So is it one law for me and one law for thee when it comes to our elected elites?
Absolutely. Absolutely, bro. I'm going to tell you right now, the province got to go back to blue. I'm telling you right now, if not blue, maybe even green one time.
Oh, really? Okay, the Greens would have
the Green Party taking over for once. Give them a chance, right?
Well, I got to ask you again, what are you smoking?
That green.
This bug has to get out in society, and you cannot stop it. And what you're doing now, they say you got to flatten the curve. What that means is you got to shut down society longer. You've got to kill the economy. You've got to destroy the people's way of thinking. You've got to destroy their lives.
So the cure is worse than the curse, then?
The cure is phenomenally worse. There's going to be way more deaths because of what they're doing than forcing people to do this. And what this is this is a big experiment. And this experiment is to see how much can we control control the people before we go absolutely CCP, right? So basically, that's what's happening in this world. We're losing our freedoms gradually, bit by bit. They take everything. Laws used to be just.
This is just a way of bringing communism a little by little by little. So basically, what they're trying to do is do what Australia is doing and bring it over here. And the thing is, in Australia, it's been really, really bad. Good thing is, we have more people who are willing to fight for their rights, but we need more people. That's the only way. Because at the end of the day, we all are categorized as conspiracy theorists, and it makes no sense.
Hey folks, if you can, please go to journalistdefensefund.com. If you're able to, make a donation so that we can continue to bring you the other side of the story.